Hi, welcome to Tales of Brazil. In this channel, we tell you the history of Brazil from a conservative point of view, in the form of small tales. In the first four chapters of this channel, that I call Season 1, I will tell you a tale of democratic Brazil. This is the part 4, where I tell you about freedom of speech. If you want to see how I tell the tale of democratic Brazil, what is democratic Brazil, please take a look at the link above, where I will take you to the prologue. So let's continue. So, like I said in the other chapters, we have no economic freedom in Brazil. We are the third worst country in the top 15 most populated countries. We have no guaranteed right to self-defense, although our constitution doesn't prohibit. Our politicians took an effort to take our right of self-defense. And now the question is, do we have freedom of speech in Brazil? The answer is we had guaranteed freedom of speech in Brazil. So what we are watching now in Brazil is the end of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech was took for granted from my generation and the generation before mine, because it was how the media, the artists, the politicians made us ask for full democracy in Brazil. It is written in our constitution that we should have freedom of speech. So it was always took for granted here. But 2020 came, and with the new year, the coronavirus came, right? The same 2020 brought the rise of scientificism, right? The affirmation that science is absolute, it must be enforced, and cherry picking of scientific work being an important activity of scienticists, second only to defend only the scientific works that support the scientificist point of view. Bolsonaro is being accused of being anti-scientific in multiple aspects by media, politicians, and Supreme Court united. One special accusation is to build a virtual fake news militia because he went against the current political science consensus when being elected, reporting expenses of only $2 million, right? But who was he competing against in the second term in Brazil? He was competing against the Workers' Party candidate, right? The very same that organized the corruption found in the car wash operation. And against him, the truth only was needed to beat him. So we didn't. Bolsonaro didn't need a fake news militia, right? So now the scientific accusation now means go against the common sense, right? And the Supreme Court judges, like I said, are considering any attack to the Supreme Court judges, an attack to the Supreme Court institution, itself and thus anti-democratic, being democracy the consensus on what is fair, right? But democracy is not the consensus on what is fair. Democracy is the people in power, right? So, and the democratic institutions are not the democracy. So that's quite interesting. They are reinterpreting the word democracy. So the fake news militia accusation against the president and supporters started more than a year ago. It was open in a legal action supported only by the Supreme Court regiment that suddenly became more important than the Constitution itself. And without the standard legal procedure, they managed to imprison activists that were protesting against a new understanding that freed hundreds of convicted people, including murderers and the ex-president Lula himself, right? They changed the understanding on when should someone be imprisoned after being convicted in a judgment, right? So yes, that was quite interesting. They imprisoned a federal congressman because he made a strong opinionated video on YouTube, right? They imprisoned a journalist that was doing a pro-Bolsonaro journalism. Actually, he used to do lots of anti-corruption. He still do, right? He went to prison and ended up in jail, and he suffered a lot in jail, right? And now he was released and paraplegic, right? In a quite horror movie end, right? And we saw a party president being imprisoned because he told in an interview the constitutional interpretation in the constitution he himself participated in the creation, on how Bolsonaro could use the constitution against the Supreme Court, right? So and then he was imprisoned, right? So we could see Brazil that has a judiciary system for a working law, also have a judiciary system for electoral matters, right? And it was repurposed in a way that now he monitors whatever they need fake news and punish, right, anyone that challenge the voting system, right, asking for it to be from being totally automated to fully auditable, how it is nowadays in the in a lot of democracies, because our system, our voting system is totally computerized. We don't print the vote at all. We only print a bulletin that already with the votes already totalized, right? So they deem it as anti-democratic and fake news. And and by that they demonetized. They ask YouTube to demonetize a long list of pro-Bolsonaro YouTube channels, right? And being the symbol of that, a housewife, a harmless housewife, a sarcastic, harmless housewife called Barbara from the Teatualize YouTube channel, right? So if we don't act now, we will end up as a freeless society. And now I ask, we don't have economic freedom, we don't have right to self-defense, we don't have freedom of speech. Why do we need democracy? I leave you this question, right? Uh, a country that doesn't defend the individual will end up as a communist, totalitarian country, right? And we are on the path of that. So this 7th of September, we will make the biggest protest that we have ever seen in Brazil in the name of the freedom of speech, because that's the and by that we will ask for the judges, the Supreme Court judges that are ending our freedom of speech to be impeached. So now you know how the freedoms are taken care in Brazil and what's happening in Brazil. So please take the word forward, and I see you in the next season. Bye.